10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Maybe I should unmute myself. And we are live. Good evening, Kimberly. How are you?
I am doing well. How are you?
I'm doing so well, even better now that I'm here in this Meticulous Moments podcast session with you. I know you and I have been trying to get our schedules to align since last year because I was traveling and you were traveling recently. So it's just wonderful to have you here with me. Thank you so much for making the time for us.
Yeah, and thank you for inviting me.
Oh, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. You know, you and I met, I believe, in a Zoom room, and you told me about everything that you do. And I thought to myself, you fit right in with the community of the Meticulous Moments podcast because here we work with community upliftment through leadership development, and we support everyone. We really promote every single guest that comes on here from ghostwriters to publishers to public speakers, and you are into marketing and automation. And I really believe that teamwork makes the dream work. So thank you so much. Tell us where you are from before I read your bio. I saw you have a lovely, lovely bio that I would love to share with the audience this evening.
Yeah, so I am from New York City.
Oh, and were you born there?
I was. So New York City, born and raised. I love to travel, but there's no place like home sometimes.
I believe so. I
Mhm.
believe so. How did your event go that you went to this week? I know that it was Dr. Obam's Underdog Millionaire Group. How did that
Mhm.
go?
It went so well. It's unlike anything I've ever been to. It's not a traditional like event where you kind of sit and there's a calendar and a schedule and you go through stuff. It was kind of a small group with a lot of people and their families, and we just did a
Wow.
lot of mindset and just goal setting and just thought work, and it was nice, and it was great because Orlando is now like 83 Celsius. Not Celsius, sorry, Fahrenheit. Celsius would
Oh, Celsius
Fahrenheit.
would be deadly.
No, you wouldn't be alive at that point. No, Fahrenheit. So 83 Fahrenheit. I don't know what that is in Celsius, but right now I had to then go back to New York where it is going to snow tomorrow. But it's all good. I'm happy for the opportunity.
Absolutely, absolutely. Tell me, Kimberly, which groups do you belong to?
Yeah, I belong to several groups. I'm in the Connected Leaders Academy, under the Underdog Millie Club, and then I'm
Oh,
also in AMA as well. I
awesome.
am
Love
coming out
Anna.
with a book in the fall, so I'm super excited. Super
Wow.
excited.
And you know, these communities are also, they are
Mhm.
super awesome, each one in their own right. What
Yes.
I love about them is they each add something to the mix. Hello, kitty cat. What's your cat's
Yeah.
name?
Okay, so I have two cats actually. You might have seen the first one. Here's the second one. So this one
Oh,
is Kenzo, and this one is Grayson.
I love that. That's beautiful. I love animals. Before, for the audience
Hmm.
is listening, before we started today,
Hmm.
my dogs were barking. So I told Kimberly I adopt dogs, and then I nurse them back to health. And I always say I'm going to send them, you know, on their way and get homes for them. But I always end up keeping them. They become a part of the family. So glad to
Yeah.
see that you're an animal lover, and you're also an entrepreneur like me. And you know, belonging to all those various groups is a great thing because all of those groups really bring something to the table, something unique, something special. I love being a part of all of those groups that you've mentioned, and there are many more. And
Mhm.
you know, we all work together. I believe teamwork makes the dream work. So I wanted to read your bio before we get into your interview. Let me go there.
Mhm.
Kimberly Mays is a digital marketer and automation enthusiast with over 10 years of experience in the industry. She specializes in helping coaches and speakers leverage marketing automation to attract more people, generate more leads, and convert more clients, all the while saving valuable time and energy. In 2017, Kimberly founded her own agency to provide digital marketing services to small businesses. Her success in the field was recognized in 2020 when she became a KEEP certified partner. In addition to her agency work, Kimberly also launched her own email marketing courses and programs to help her clients achieve even greater results. Throughout her career, Kimberly has worked with both small and large organizations, gaining a wealth of knowledge and expertise along the way. However, her true passion lies in supporting small businesses and entrepreneurs who are driven by a vision and a desire to make a difference. Kimberly is dedicated to helping these individuals take their businesses to the next level and achieve the success they deserve. Kimberly is known for her commitment to her clients and her ability to translate complex digital marketing concepts into clear, actionable steps. She takes pride in helping her clients overcome their challenges and achieve their goals, and is always on the lookout for new and innovative ways to help them succeed. That's wonderful, Kimberly. Tell me, what small and big organizations do you work with currently, and how do they differ? I'm sure you bring out the best of each of these
Mhm.
organizations that you work with, and how do you choose your clients? Because as an entrepreneur, we choose,
Mhm.
the businesses and the, the skills that we have. We kind of see if it's a fit. So tell us more about that process for you.
Yeah, so the large organizations was more of a thing in my past. So I've been in email marketing since 2006. So
Okay.
that's like almost 20 years. So
Wow.
I got into that because after college,
Yeah.
it was just a natural fit because I went to college for technology, computer science.
Yes.
So marketing technology was just automatically something that I just absolutely loved. And so I've been there from the beginning with emails, designing emails, sending emails, doing work on email lists. And these would be for companies. Well, I worked at a larger big data firm, and the firm's clients were these large companies, hotels, um, like some hotels like Marriott hotels, retailers, banks, pharmaceuticals. So it would just span the gamut of different industries, but they all had unique needs. But one on the underlying needs is just being able to automate the times that emails go out, being able to send the right messages to the right people, and do a lot of reporting which messages are effective and which ones are not. So I say all that to say is that even though I was sending out campaigns of millions of with millions of people on it, that go out to millions of people, the same concepts can be applied to small businesses and even medium-sized businesses, but even small businesses. Yes, you may not have a list of 1 million people, but sending to your list of 100 or sending to your list of 1,000 or 10,000 still makes the difference. And you still need to show up and talk to your people with the right message at the right time. And fortunately, because I've been in this industry so long, I've seen the evolution of the tools and products that are available for small business owners. So all of the same concepts that I dealt with back in the 2000s and the 2010s are available now for anyone who has a business.
That's fantastic because you know what I see? I see you taking your skills and really applying them to different organizations. And there
Mm-hmm.
you started to build out your own business. So you were an employee and then you started building your own business. And that's the essence of entrepreneurship. When you're
Mm-hmm.
really good at something, you really have to tap into that. And I said to someone the other day when I had a Captor Connection video, I said to Alejandro J. Tornato, I said, you always should stay relevant and you
Mm-hmm.
should never ever turn business away because how else will you scale? If you have that capacity to do that, if you don't, you delegate and you create that capacity. But we're entrepreneurs, that's what we do business. And
Mm-hmm.
I hear you saying that you did that for 20 years, the email marketing. So how
Mm-hmm.
has that changed since 20 years ago and now? How has that kind of changed? What were the dynamics of email marketing that
Mm-hmm.
has been adapted?
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing that has changed is the approach to how we use data. So I would say, back in the 2000s, yes, I was just fresh out of college. So, what did I what did I really know? But, some of my first jobs, I worked at a couple of small businesses before my first big job. And even then, you would have one list of people, you'd put together an email and you would just send it. And then at best, maybe you might get, okay, how many opened, how many clicked, who opened, who clicked. But there really wasn't like a behavior science around the sending of it. You just sent it and you kind of hoped for the best. You sent it to a particular destination and you hope that they took action once you sent them to a particular website. Now, I think because the tools have gotten smarter, so have the strategies. So, for
Mm-hmm.
example, I always talk about this concept. It's called the abandoned cart. And I've done it or I've implemented it with like larger businesses. But it's essentially this. Have you ever gone to a retailer site, maybe like a shoe store or whatever, and then you get an email that says, hey, you forgot something in your cart because you looked at something, maybe you put in your cart, maybe you're not
Yes.
sure, or maybe you get busy. So then it sends you an email to remind you that you've been looking at a particular product or service. So
Yeah.
those are the types of behavioral based emails that every single business owner now can absolutely do. So I'll tell you this, the technology behind it is that there's a tracking cookie that will track what you're looking at and will know what your email address is so that it can say, all right, Kim did not buy or did not transact on this. Let me remind her. And that's just one example of targeted communications that we're
Yeah.
able to do on a one-to-one level. So no more just deploying mass emails and hoping for the best. Now we're able to measure and track at every individual interaction.
Wonderful. And I've mentioned when we started, that there is a diversity in the companies that we work with because they
Mm-hmm,
are all unique, the groups that we belong to. I mean, you and I belong both to ARMA, we belong to CLA, we belong to
mm-hmm,
Underdog Pioneer, and it's so wonderful to see them working together and
mm-hmm,
each and everyone brings something unique to the table. Now, I want to ask you, what unique companies have you worked for? Because I'm sure you don't only do one type of business. It's different businesses, but you apply the same email
mm-hmm.
principles and the research. I think they take that data. I also think they use that for research. To see what products people are more likely to buy and which
Mm-hmm.
ones not. So, how is that? Give us some interesting facts there, because you have been doing that for so long.
Yeah, so I primarily work with coaches and speakers, not because I can't really help other types of businesses, but coaches and speakers is a vast like array
It's
of
a
different
huge
types of
area.
businesses and personalities, services, and it's just a lot of fun. It's a really fun niche to work in because
Yes.
everyone wants to change the world. They're mission driven, they're inspired, and I think as a business owner or as a service provider, it's so much easier to pick a niche where they have a similar need because then you're able to build out tools and processes to fill that need, and that's less time kind of trying to figure out what it is that this person needs over here or that person needs over there. So for example, if a plumber came to me and says, I would like you to help me automate my email list and my sales and marketing, I would say, sure, but I do have a referral that I can refer you to because I have a network so that that person could be honed in on what that business needs and can serve that person better. So I do stick with the coaching and speaking and authors niche because it's just so much fun to work in.
Yeah, and it's a huge field. It is really, and
Mhm,
I love the fact that you mentioned all the coaches out there, all the speakers and the authors, all the people that are a part of the leadership, groups that we are a part of, that we belong to. They all want to make the world a better place. That's
mhm,
why I joined, because some of them do certain goodwill things in the one area, some of them do other things in another area, and so it goes along. And it's also good to have that exposure with other people to learn from them and grow and to see the way they strategize and they do things. So it's beautiful. I remember I was at the at an event in January for Alma. You're gonna launch a book with Alma now.
Hmm.
I
Yes.
was there, and all the major leadership groups were there. BLN was there with Charles Spear, Dr. Obam with the Underdog Millionaire, Jose Escobar from the CLA was there. Alma hosted it, Amelia and Daniela Roman. I'm thinking now the Unleash You family was there with Michael Faber. And it was so great to see everybody supporting everybody. And that really made it an exceptional event. It was just a lovely, lovely
Mhm.
time together. So now talking about email marketing, where did your passion start for all of this? When did you decide this is what you want to do?
Yeah, so it was actually an accident because if
Oh,
I kind of go back to my college years, I was a computer science major. So computer science can just run the gamut of like a lot of different areas. But I was always really well versed in online technology. So we're thinking like late 90s when, the internet was blowing up and people started building their own sites. I taught myself a lot about programming, coding, developing, and these weren't things that were taught to me necessarily in high school or college, but I took it upon myself to learn. So that when I graduated in 2004, by 2006, I found a job that was a good fit for me because it utilized some of those skill set and some of those tools, so I was able to still do the coding, still do the programming, and learn the marketing, which I was becoming more and more interested in. And it just so happened that this job was in the field of email marketing. And it wasn't just email, it was everything around email. So we're thinking like landing pages and then multi channels like SMS, for example,
oh,
or
I
text
remember
messages. Yeah,
SMS.
so there are a lot of ways that different channels can feed into each other, but I think email is one that really stood the test of time and will always
Yes,
stand the test of
still
time.
here.
So because everybody checks their emails like every single day, so no one can tell me that email marketing doesn't work. It absolutely does.
It
But
does.
yeah, it was a complete accident. That's where my first job was, and I said, okay, I can be good at this. And then I was like, I could be great at this. So it wasn't only just doing one thing in those roles. I was also a developer, a business analyst, a coder, a designer. So I've done pretty much everything. But what I really loved around it was the strategy, like the why. Why are we sending this message? What is the purpose of this thing? So we're going to work hard sending this thing out. What do we want it to do for us? Or what does the business owner, or it was large businesses. So like, what does this campaign manager want it to do? And how do we make that happen?
Interesting question.
Mm-hmm.
There are various different opinions about that. How many emails are sufficient for a business to be sent out per week? Because
Yeah,
I've
it just,
people
yeah.
say once a week, twice a week, three times a week, some send every day. And those are, what does your statistics say?
Yeah, so I have to really pull up the statistics, and it really depends on industry too. So back when I was working with these large companies, we would have industry benchmarks because every industry is very different. So if I'm thinking coach and speaker, because that's the realm in which I serve now, I would say once a week is a good is a good frequency, because you want to make
Good.
sure that you remain top of mind, and you also
Mm.
want to make sure that people don't forget about you, because I have worked with people who let their list go cold for months, and that is very hard to come back from. So when you let your list go cold, people have forgotten about you. So when you finally do send, people are thinking, okay, well, what is this? Let me opt out, or let me unsubscribe. And what that tells your email service provider software and the internet service providers that you're sending to is telling them that, hey, your email is no good. No one wants this. Your open rates are low, your click-through rates are low, and that damages your credibility over time. So I think if every business owner can send one quality email per week, that is a good starting point. And it could be content that answers a question, or it could be a repurposed video. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a huge lift, but just make sure that you are not letting your list go cold.
Yes, yes. Once you make it a feast. Yeah, I agree. I agree. And you've said something. Emails have stood the test of time. That's
Mm-hmm.
very true. That's very true. What other marketing strategies do you use that you've seen has really also stood the test of time since then? Because I mean, the platforms keep changing. There's so many
Mm-hmm.
platforms. There's Twitter, there's Facebook, there's Instagram, there's TikTok. Even now, TikTok also started getting a business section. There's
Mm-hmm.
LinkedIn. I thought in the beginning TikTok was only just for fun and games and people making jokes on there. And I recently saw it's really a business platform now as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say that, I tell everybody, and this is including myself too, is like really think of where your audience is and thinking what they want from you. So, for example, if I work with somebody who does diversity training for organizations or maybe does some sort of organizational training, then LinkedIn might be the best platform for them. If they're doing something like bodybuilding or personal training or a chef or something, maybe Instagram that has more pictures. So it's
Yeah.
about really finding like where the audience is and what they need. But one thing that has always stood the test of time is relationship marketing, just
Yes,
building relationships because
it's so
I don't want to
important.
be indebted to a platform because the algorithms can literally change overnight and they owe you
That's
nothing. They owe you nothing. They don't have to share with you how much they're sharing your content. You're not
that's
paying
true.
for the product, you are the product. So,
Yeah.
there's nothing like making connections and
Yes,
being in groups with like-minded people and
that's
just
the truth.
showing up and serving because I think yes, you can do all this extra stuff, but what's going to get you that meaningful relationship is people
That's
who can
very true.
refer you.
That's very true. And leadership is about relationship building. If you go and look at all the other lives that I do, I always speak about building relationship with people.
Hmm.
That's a part of our leadership because otherwise what we do is futile. We
Yeah.
have to build relationship. We have to get to know people. I've worked with people for 15 years. Different people in churches, in the executive world, in the entrepreneurial world with different personalities, but they're all unique, they're all special, and you can
Hmm.
build relationship with each and every one of them. That's really a skill.
Yeah.
It's a skill to do that. And then a relationship building out, building from that foundation. I come back to your bio where you were an employee, then you started your business. It's the same route for every entrepreneur, I guess, except in special cases where they don't want to go and work or from the get go, or they don't want to go study, and you get those individuals that just start a business and there they go. But in most, I'd say the majority of cases, people start out with a job and then they build on that. And then when they are skilled in that area and they've grown to the ceiling, they become entrepreneurs. And then as entrepreneurs, they build a foundation and they build out. Because, I always tell my son when he asked me the other day, what is entrepreneurship? I said, it's it's kind of like Minecraft. Have you heard of Minecraft before, that game
Hmm.
that they play? It teaches them to think logically and strategically. And that is like an entrepreneurship. You
Hmm.
build a community, and then you do this and you do that. So it's good to hear that you are also like-minded. I mean, of course,
Hmm.
we know each other a while now. I think we spoke last year at the end of the year. So
Yeah, we
it's so good
did.
to have you here today. Tell me something. What leader in your life do you have that has really worked effectively and actively on building relationship with you, and what has that meant to you?
Yeah, I just have so many people throughout my life who've done it too. And it doesn't always have to be in an entrepreneurial sense. It can also be in the corporate, or it could also be a family member. People who really push you to be better. People who won't answer your questions, but will help you find the answer yourself. So I can't really pinpoint it to one particular individual, but it's about seeking a mentor and seeking people who have done the things that you've done before and really listening and really taking notes and being open to being criticized because that's no fun, but being open to being criticized and be open to development. And so, yeah, I am very much a work in progress still. I have quite a ways to go, but I'm really looking forward to it.
You are doing such a wonderful job. Kimberly, how old are you now?
I am 40.
40. You look so
Yeah.
much younger.
Yeah.
I'm
Thanks.
only 2 years older than you, and
Uh-huh.
we are in our 40s now. And yes, we do get criticized. Not everybody sees the vision always that we see,
Mhm.
and that's a part of life, and that's okay because
Yeah.
we different. Everybody has a right to their opinion. I live in peace. I'm not someone that that goes at people and things. So I believe everybody has a right to their opinion, and we must always treat people well. And yeah,
Yeah.
we do get criticized. Have you been hurt through criticism, or are you kind of thick-skinned, or what is your personality like?
Yeah, so I used to be very thin-skinned. You know,
Yeah,
I used to think that criticism was something that would always have to fight back or deflect because
yeah,
it's not a comfortable feeling.
no,
So, I think it does take a while. And I think, too, part of it is being forgiving of past self because a lot of folks
yeah,
hold on to, oh, well, I should have been this way, I would have been this way.
yeah,
And I'm at the point in my life now, I don't have a lot of regrets. I'm like, everything happened the way it needed to,
yeah.
and just thinking your next breath is a miracle too. Like there's
Amen.
no like time to like go back and that's done with. But when it comes to criticism, yeah, I used to not be able to take it, but now I think, okay, what is it about what's being said is triggering to me? Let me sit with that. is it
Yes.
is it you that is triggering me, or is it what you're saying that's triggering me? Why is this triggering me? And it's
Yeah.
like, it's okay, I'm going to sit over here and be triggered for a little bit, let that kind of
Yeah.
wash over, and then I'm going to address it so that I don't
Yes.
ruin a relationship. I don't,
Yeah.
snap back at a person and potentially burn a bridge. So that's kind of my process now. So it's not like I am totally have arrived, but now I'm kind of
No, we never arrive.
yeah, I'm kind of taking it apart now and just thinking, okay, well, what is this that is making me uncomfortable? Acknowledging it and then working through it.
Yeah, you mentioned some good points. I mean, those are a few golden nuggets that you have right there.
Mhm,
And what you said, I want to start with what you said first is the thing that you did is or if you're in a situation like that, what do? You remove yourself, you spend some
mhm,
time with yourself, you digest, how you are feeling, you think about why you think that way, you acknowledge it. That
mhm,
was your second step. And your third step is you address it. So
mhm,
you understand that this is you try and do that introspection to see why you're feeling that way. You acknowledge that you feel that way
mhm,
and maybe you are triggered in some way, and then you address it, and that's such a
mhm,
powerful process. And I think I look back over my life and I wish, and I do the same as you, I
mhm,
detach myself from a situation and I look from it in an objective manner, and then I see if it's triggering me, or if it's positive or negative, because we all have things like you've mentioned. None of us have arrived. We're all going through life, and the third part is very, very important. You address it. And I look
mhm,
back at my life when I was in my 20s in the corporate world, working with high level professionals. I wish I had that wisdom then.
mhm. Yeah.
I wish I knew those things then, but I guess that's a part of our growth, and it's a part of the things that keep us humble, where we
Yeah.
can say, you know what, I didn't know everything, because in our 20s we go into these high level jobs and we think, we know everything. We are we call them yuppies in South Africa. I don't know if you've ever heard that before.
I have.
Yuppies,
Mhm,
yeah, the young folk with the fast
mhm.
cars and the coolest phones and the clothing and it's all a part of I believe that's a part of our growth. But
Yeah.
I love people, and working with people for so long, you really get to love everybody that you meet. You really get to love all the personalities,
Mhm,
because everyone is just amazing. People are so valuable and we should love
mhm.
them. Yeah.
Yes.
What's your
Mhm.
approach when working with people? How do you work with your clients? What's that relationship like?
Yeah, so everybody is very different. So you're gonna have different types of personalities. So I will admit I understand my own personality type and understand my energy levels when working with folks. So I'm an introvert, and that doesn't mean I'm scared or shy. It just means that I get tired very quickly. So I will only book a certain number of calls per day, or if I have a lot of calls and I have to manage my energy, and I recognize when I get very, very tired. And then I also now kind of recognize someone's energy by speaking with them. So, their expectations as well. Not everybody's a good fit. I've told people over the phone, like when we first met, like, yeah, I don't think, this is gonna work. But here's something else I could do for you, or things like that. But I think everybody, for the most part, that I've worked with has been pretty awesome.
I'm happy to hear that.
Hmm.
And that's a part of your boundary setting.
Hmm.
You don't, you're straightforward and you say it like it is, but you do it in
Hmm.
your way. Kimberly,
Yeah.
and I've noticed that you're an introvert because in the ministry I learned how to work with personalities, and
Hmm.
there was this misconception for so many years that introverts don't speak much or they just there in the. That's not what an introvert is. There's different
Hmm.
types of introverts,
Yeah.
and I understand because my daughter is like that. She loves to be around people, but there's a limit. She gets to that place, if we'll
Hmm.
have people over or a barbecue, I'll see she'll be there from the beginning. And then a few hours later, I'll just see her disappear to her room because now she's had enough.
Hmm.
Connection with everyone. She wants to now have some time just to, digest and
Yeah.
just to recenter her energy. So, that has been a misconception in the years. I know that
Mhm.
only recently, I'd say like 3 or 4 years ago, did they start understanding that introversion is not just hiding from the world or not wanting to
Mhm.
speak to people. And so, what type of personality are you? Have you done that personality test yet? Which one
Yeah,
have you done?
I've done Myers Briggs. So I've
Oh,
done
I don't
Myers
know
Briggs.
that one.
Yeah, so I'm an INTJ, which is
Oh,
probably, yes.
yeah.
So that one is more like straightforward, matter of fact. I love data. I love, just kind of like I don't stick any emotions too much. But it doesn't mean that I can't do it or I don't do it. I definitely do. I think with my kind of personality type, I do like interacting with people. I like speaking on stages. We like organization a lot, especially when it
Yeah.
comes to social events. So if it's like, oh, let's go hang out at the bar, then I'm going home. But if it's
Yeah.
like, oh, let's go to this event, let's go to a movie, a concert, something with an agenda. We like agendas. So
Yeah, you
that
like
is,
structure.
yes. Hmm.
So what does the I, the N, the T, and the J for stand for? Because I know that it stands for something. I think I'm an ENTJ. I've done that one so long ago.
Hmm.
I'm very well versed in the DISC one as well. Have you ever done the DISC personality test?
I haven't taken it, but I kind of know where I am, where I
I
fall
think
into
you're
it.
a very high C.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am a C.
Organization.
Mm-hmm.
If I read you, I think you're a CS. I think
Mm-hmm.
you're a CS because you're not a I. I is very loud, and
Mm-hmm.
D is like very dominant, controlling almost, but not in a bad sense. Just like
Mm-hmm.
taking the lead.
Yeah.
I believe one of the people I did it with in a church once said the high D's are the Hitlers of this world
Mm-hmm.
because they just command a whole host of people. But I believe you're a CS because the C is for very structured, and you like
Mm-hmm.
your things to be in a certain place, and it must be in order. And the S is, you're very you can talk easily to people, you can communicate well, and you're more like I wouldn't say S for soft, but not that high D that
Mm-hmm.
it's like rigid, more flexible. Yeah, yeah, that's wonderful. So tell us your life. When you grew up, what was that like, and who was your leader in your life? Some of us say our dads or our moms or family members. It can be a friend. Who was that leader in your life that really was significant?
Yeah, that's another one where there's been so many people at so many different stages. So, I go through different stages. Like for example, in my early childhood, I was always very to myself. I was always very curious too. So I just love like organizing things,
Yeah.
figuring things out. I really enjoyed my own company. And then, when you get to like your teen years, yeah, you're still exploring stuff about yourself. And I I was led by family, friends, but I think where I start to have like my earliest memories of leadership was in college, where you look to your professors, look to your peers, and you look to people who have done things that you wanted to accomplish. So those could be people, the small business owners I worked for when I got out of college, the internships that I've had, the people have poured into me, and just like the mentors and the business peers that I've had in the corporate world and in the entrepreneurial world. So, it's just been such a very long, well, I would say that long, but it's been very interesting journey where I've had people come in and out of my life that have just really been impactful.
It's actually beautiful because different people taught you different things at different
Mhm.
times in your life. That's beautiful, and we carry those lessons with us.
Mhm.
And in the martial arts, when we fight with an opponent,
Mhm.
we don't bow to them for any religious reason. Well, not in my dojo. When we are finished fighting, what we do is we bow to that person to say
Mhm.
thank you that you put yourself out there, that you brought your body and your mind and your expertise to teach me something.
Mhm.
We always show respect. I don't know if you've seen those fights before in the MMA, even. Loyoto, what is his name? Machida. He
Mhm.
also bows to his partner, even if he knocks them out, because it's a thank you. So we learn different things in the corporate world, in our personal lives. And I want to ask you, there's a reason why I said that. I want to ask you, what is the most difficult lesson that you've ever learned in your personal life or in business? What was something that really, triggered you, and what did you learn from that?
Yeah. Why? Let's see. I think it also goes back to being defensive. So I think that has cost me relationships. And that's kind of why I am the way I am now, where I say, okay, well, is it worth it to win this fight? And was it worth
Yes,
it to win the battle at the cost of the war? Is it,
yes, yes,
and I think that, I think we all have, looking back, have regretted some things that we've said or
yes,
done,
very
or
true.
people we may have closed out because we didn't like what they were
Yeah,
trying to show us, even though they were just holding up a mirror. Maybe they didn't even judge us the way we judge ourselves, and
yeah,
projected their feedback onto them, how we feel about ourselves. So I think that was kind of like the biggest lesson, was to take that and said, okay, acknowledge that it happened, but I'm not going to carry it anymore because I have too far to go without
yes.
that. There's nothing I can do about things that I might have done. There's nothing I can do about it. It's outside my sphere of influence, and all I can do is to do better.
Yeah, that's wonderful. That's the approach. I love that approach because you look at the world and other people, and you seek to understand them. You
Mm-hmm.
seek to understand the way they think and the way and the reason why they do certain things. And you said a wonderful phrase. Did you say it's not worth to win the battle at the cost of the war?
Mm-hmm.
That's beautiful. I've never heard that
Yeah.
before. Is that your
Mhm.
reference or is it a reference from a book? Because
Um,
that is amazing.
um, I definitely didn't make it up. It didn't originate with me. There's variants of
I
it, but there's
love
like,
that. Wow.
yeah, there's always saying like you win the battle, but you lost the war. It's
Yeah.
about, it's about long term and short term thinking. Yeah,
Yeah.
you can, if somebody says something you don't like, yeah, you can get them back, verbally or whatever,
Yeah.
cut them up. But then, if it damages a relationship, if it causes
Yes.
other
Not
long
worth
term
it.
harm, what good was it?
I agree with you. And it's actually making me think of scripture. And to the audience, Kim and I are both believers. And we prayed before we came into this
Mm-hmm.
session because I had such a day. I'm not going to say horrible because I love Mondays. I'm going to say I had a character building day. And I'll tell you why I say that. I am busy moving to a farm because I want that peace and serenity. And Kim, I had a certain schedule today that I
Mm-hmm.
planned out because I'm like you, I'm a high C, and I
Mm-hmm.
just want to make sure I do what I need to do when I need to do it. So I take the kids after school and we jump on the truck and we're going to go get the one friend and some more boxes. Then we're going to come back. We have this whole plan. And as I go around the corner, I realize the strange noise. And what is
Mhm.
this noise? Overnight, my one tire had gone flat. Now, this is a truck, it's a heavy vehicle. And
Mhm.
I had to stop next to the road. Now, it's
Mhm.
something else to change a wheel of my car. This is a big, big truck, right? So
Mhm.
I'm standing next to the road looking at this wheel. I told the kids to get off, and two gentlemen drive by. And they are with these fidelity guard services, they keep the areas safe and everything. And they initially just waved at me because I always
Mhm.
wave at them when I pass them. And I saw them continuing and I said, stop. And the moment I said stop to get their attention, they stopped and they got out. And the one guy's got a gun because they work with these. They pick up the funds at different places and then they kind of guard the guy that's transferring that to the bank and
Mhm.
whatnot. It's called a fidelity guard. So I
Yes.
stopped him and the one guy gets out with a gun and I'm like, whoa, what kind
Mhm.
of gun is that? And I start to laugh. I told the kids, go sit under the tree, go sit under the tree. And because they're just doing their rounds, it's like a
Mhm.
security guard, but for a
Yeah.
different business. So they're harmless, they public workers. And I said, guys, you need to help me with this wheel. I'm not gonna get this truck on that jack. I mean, I can't even. It's a a metal thing, and then you put in the lever and you have to turn
Mhm.
it. And they helped me, but they couldn't get the jack to go up. So they left to their offices and they came back and they tried to put air in the wheel with a thing that they connected to their car, but the wheel is too big because
Mhm.
that pump that they're using is for their type of cars, the VWs that they use. I said, here's the spare. I don't really want to put it on, but let's put the spare on. I'll just make sure to take the tire in. Turns out yesterday when I went to the farm with the truck, the valve bent, so it loses air. But
Mhm.
I had such a day, and I'm standing, and it's hot, Kimberly. It was so hot
Mhm.
today. You should see my arms. I
Oh.
have such a tan. Now I'm behind on my schedule. And now I'm driving to pick up the child, and I get there, and he had arranged for them to keep the boxes, and someone just took the boxes away, and I think they threw them away. So
Mhm.
now the truck had a flat wheel. The boxes were thrown away. Now I've come back with them, and we load the bucky, the truck, and we go, and we're driving, and I'm on my way to the farm. And I didn't know there was a time change last night because
Mhm.
I used to be 7 hours ahead, but since last night, I think, or Saturday night, I'm only 6 hours ahead. So my
Mhm.
whole schedule is based on the fact that
Mhm.
I'm 7 hours ahead. And I jump on a call with Jonathan Ellis. I'm a member of his thought provoking change group. I jump on the call and I realize the call is over. So now
Mhm.
these three things happened. And what I said to myself? I said, it's still a beautiful day.
Mhm.
Philip, I had the tire changed. I can get new boxes and I can be at the following meeting. So I want to ask you, have you had days like that? And how have you handled days like that? Because sometimes, these things can drag us down, except if we don't let them.
Yeah, we've all had days like that too. And it really depends on the day. I'm
Yeah.
not going to say that I've always been sunshine when those days come or there hasn't been like a meltdown or something. But, I just try my best. And even if the day hasn't gone well, there's going to be another day after it. So I kind of take it in stride. I used to get very upset at the slightest little hiccup or anything, but I just learned like, okay, stuff happens. What you gonna do? Like, for example, I went to the event and I left my notes. Every good idea, I left it in the house that the event was at. And I said, well, if this notebook never turns up, I have the book, I have my brain, I can start over. I think I remember what I wrote down. And something told me just ask if the book is there. And sure enough, the book was found. So I'll be reunited with that book again. But just knowing it didn't just bend me out of shape, didn't throw me off schedule. Because those little things used to just ruin my whole day. I'm like, oh, well, the book's gone. I can't do anything. It's all gone. And now I'm just like, well, I got the lesson I was supposed to get, and how can I work around this?
That was a phenomenal answer.
Mhm.
Thank you for that. And I
Mhm.
realized if you hadn't stayed calm about the book, you would have been so frantic, maybe you wouldn't even have thought to ask. It's
Mhm. Yeah.
staying calm and
Mhm.
realizing, that these things happen,
Yeah.
that we
Mhm.
get through those days. And there were a
Yeah.
few things that I
Mhm.
realized today as I journeyed through my day and as those things happened. And that's not a bad thing. Those are
Mhm.
things that build my character, as I've said, and those are things that shape me and that speak to me that I realize. I always say I don't control the waves, I ride them. I realize that I don't control the waves, and ultimately, the
Mhm.
universe is working everything out for my good.
Mhm.
Because we are believers, and what does the Bible say in Romans 8? God's working behind the scenes
Yeah.
for those that are called and are called according to His purpose and that love Him. So
Mhm.
maybe there was a reason that you left your book there. Maybe there was a reason that I didn't go onto the highway at that exact time that I was detained for an hour. There's always a reason for the universe and for God to do something. So I want to ask you, Kimberly, what are your services? How can
Mhm.
we, as the Meticulous Moments community, support you, uplift you? Because that's what we
Mhm.
do. This is a
Yes.
community upliftment. This is for everybody. Every single person, every single guest that comes on here, we support. Doesn't matter from where they are, we
Mhm.
support them. That's what makes us stronger if we stand together. So tell us, how can we support you today?
Yeah. So what my services are, to answer the first part of your question, I do marketing and CRM email marketing setups. So what that looks like is helping business owners build their email list with people who are good fit for what they do. So I help them with their lead generation, their lead magnet. What are they going to promote to build up their email list? So what are they going to automate? So some of those systems that I used to do back in the day for corporate, now we can implement those because the tools are so readily available. And we could do this in as little as two full or half, well, one full day together or two half days together. So I call them my VIP days. And so, yeah, and that it includes importing all those folks that you may have laying around in a spreadsheet somewhere. Because a lot of people do. They're like, oh, I have all these people in the spreadsheet somewhere.
Yeah.
Or some people have built up their list but let it go cold. So we kind of strategize, how are we going to re-engage these people and kind of get them back on track. So I've done that. And it's just really about what the business owner needs. So I do a lot of consulting, a lot of implementation. Currently, I'm working with chambers of commerce on building up their memberships and just really walking folks through the process. Because there's one thing to hire somebody and kind of put it all in their hands and then be disappointed with the results because they've delegated their thoughts to somebody who's not in the business. But what I do is I ask a lot of questions, almost to a fault.
Oh, I'm the
I'm
same.
just like, how do you want people to do business with you? And then what? And then what? And they're just like, oh my gosh, when is she going to stop asking? But that is so that I can get that out of you to say, okay, well, this is the journey and the progression that we're going to go
Yeah.
with these emails. So that's exactly what I do. And then if you're like, okay, well, I have folks to do it, I just want you to speak on it or train my tribe, because a lot of business owners, they know that they tell their, a lot of business coaches, they know they tell their clients, you need to build a list or do a website or landing page or funnel, whatever, but they don't want to spend the time teaching them how to do it. So I think I know I'm a good fit for, like, any program that says, all right, I want a specialist to come in and teach the details of this larger topic that I'm teaching, because I don't have time to tell people how to send an email. So that is also something else that I love doing.
And you have a most lovely personality, Kim. It's so relaxing to speak to you. I'm so glad that you are my interview today. Especially after the day that I've had, and we are
Mhm,
very like-minded. We approach life the same. Our
mhm,
personalities are much the same, And I just want to thank you for adding so
Mhm.
much value to the audience today.
Mhm.
And I believe you have so many things coming up for you. What's next for you? You mentioned that you're going to publish a book with Arma.
Mhm.
Tell us a little bit more about that, and what else is next for you?
Yeah, so I'll be speaking in Waterloo, Ontario in May. So look out for
Yay!
that. I am just awaiting on the landing page link from the organizer so I can start putting it out there from Gordon Melville.
Yes.
So I will be doing that. And then about the book, it's going to be a very interesting book. So I
Beautiful.
haven't yet finished the cover and everything, so I don't want to give too much away. But there were two clues at the beginning of this interview. The two, one's on my lap right now, and the other one has gone off somewhere. He's by the window. So yeah, it's going to be marketing and cats.
I loved it.
Yes.
I loved it. That is so special. And you are a most special person,
Oh,
entrepreneur.
thanks. Mhm.
Thank you for being so amazing. It's just been so wonderful to meet you through the CLA and glad to see you working
Mhm.
with Alma as well. And I hope and I
Mhm.
pray that you have a phenomenal 2023. I speak
Mhm.
that over you and stay awesome. And yeah, we are going to cheer you on and support you as we do all the
Yeah.
meticulous guests, and you are now part of our Alma family, and our meticulous family. So
Mhm.
thank you so much for
Yes.
everything, and I'll see you in the next session. Have a wonderful day, Kim.
You too. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Hi, my name is Jose Escobar, and I'm the founder and CEO of the Connected Leaders Academy. We're the #1 fastest growing community and tribe of some of the highest level entrepreneurs all around the country and around the world. We're in 36 states across the US, in 11 international countries, and over 240 plus members growing every single day. And I'm honored, excited, and I'm glad to say that I'm proud to be the official sponsor of the Meticulous Moments podcast with Juanita Kapp. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I'm excited for this journey.
Hey everybody, my name is Patrick Rude. I'm the owner of Rude Financial Services, a proud sponsor of the Meticulous Moments podcast, hosted and directed by the beautiful, strong, and intelligent Juanita Kapp. I cannot tell you enough about what this woman has done with this podcast and the effect that she has had on me and all of the other sponsors and people that listen. Don't miss it.